One of our brethren some years ago spoke of the payment of tithing as fire insurance. Nonetheless, the word of the Lord is clear that those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming. For that shall be a day of judgment, a day of sifting, a day of separating the good from the evil. I would venture a personal opinion that no event has occurred in all the history of the earth as dreadful as will be the day of the second coming, as fraught with the destructive forces of nature, as consequential for the nations of the earth, as terrible for the wicked, and as wonderful for the righteous.
Why did they tell us the Joseph Smith papers are finished? No more. Working on Brigham Young now. And they rush to get the book of the law for us on the 21st before Thanksgiving. They rush the project so that Elizabeth doesn't type it all out. We can now blame her. She just summarizes. Donation, date, donation, date, donation, date, even journal entry. She does not type out the journal entry. All the rest of the Joseph Smith papers, text. You see the full text, they type it out. We can read it. We don't have to look at the handwriting on the actual document. But nope, not for the book of the law. They did not do that until book B. Then they typed it out. It was only 61 pages. Elizabeth was lazy to rush to get it out before Thanksgiving. The church gave her an order. Get it out. You do know that's what happened, right? Because otherwise, they would have told the church, hey, book of the law, should we put it with the Joseph Smith papers? We said it was over. Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead and work on it. Or, no, we'll just put it with the Brigham Young papers. Nope. The prophets told her, get it out as fast as you can. Don't type it all out if it's going to slow you down. That's exactly what they did. The journals? Nope. The donations? Nope. So we don't know who it is. The text is worthless. Except in book B. You are forced to look at the pictures. Okay? You must understand this to understand the big picture of what's going on and what they're covering up. All tithing donations. Are you unfamiliar with the lawsuits against the church lately? Since the whistleblower. Since me. Since James Huntsman. since the three guys recently. They all lost. James Huntsman lost because he called tithing a donation. Those three guys, brand new, I checked, they too are calling tithing a donation. I was pissed with them. I told you in my video on that reporting that they will lose because they called tithing a donation. Even on our tithing slips, it says tithing and other donations. The church even acknowledges that tithing is not a donation. Even Malachi tells you tithing is not a donation, but it's not for priestcraft. It's not a part of an extortion racket. It's for the poor. That's Joseph's tithing for the poor. Section 84 of the Doctrine and Covenants. That has to do with the latter days too. This is a con. They're trying to protect the church to reinforce tithing is a donation and government can't touch us. They need to back off religious freedom to commit crimes. Tithing is being used to commit crimes, to start the war in Ukraine, to start the war in Israel. The church, directly and through the Council for National Policy, to self-fulfill their own prophecy for the latter days. They're doing it. It's a crime. It's terrorism. It's sedition. And they will not. I checked. It's not here. I'm looking right at it. There is no Doctrine and Covenants. I can read it all for you if you're incapable of checking for yourself. I'm going to prove Travis is lying to me. I'm going to find Doctrine and Covenants, Section 85 here. It's here. I know it is. I'm checking again. Well, there's cows. Just like in the Book of Mormon. Oh my God. Oh, there she is. There's the liar for the Church of Jesus Christ. Oh, we got to get your picture. We're going to immortalize you as a liar. Elizabeth, naughty girl. Elizabeth A. Kuhn. Oh, dear God. And I see this. She's even lying about what she typed in that was insufficient. Because they say, tithing donation. No, it didn't. There's inconsistencies as I went over with you. I hope, and wasn't part of the silent portion. Because of the technical difficulties. No. Originally, donation. And so when you look on the pictures, yes, it's just donation. Money given from such and such. Money given. It did not say tithing. Book B, yeah, you see tithing in the text, but also on the pictures. And there was some, after Joseph died, they then said, on tithing, on tithing, on tithing, on tithing, not donation. Big change in the wording. So by not typing it all out, making you look at the pictures, they're deceiving you. Elizabeth, deceiving you. There is a difference between 1842, 1845, which was put in 1842. There was some space. They went back and put it in on a journal book. They started using it as a ledger. And the reason for this is they basically stole the journals and started using them for this book of the law thing. There was a letter to W.W. Phelps. Joseph Smith was not asking these people for this money. It was Brigham Young and his Danites. They were funding the Danites through Joseph's church, claiming that it was for the temple. And so that's why I can't find any legitimate Mormon who was not part of Brigham Young's con as a Danite. That's why only Danites are listed, and polygamous sex slaves who were trafficked by Brigham Young. This is the ledger of the Danites, not Joseph Smith. That's why there's inconsistencies. That's why there's 1845 mixed in 1842. That's why Elizabeth will not type it all out. That's why they're covering this up. That's why they lie. This is just abominable. And I'm all excited. And we're going on 2 hours. This is a major exposure of the church. That the church rushed to get put out. And still, it's now after 7 a.m. And all is silent. The hitmen failed again. See, I have no idea when the hostages are going to be exchanged. I just know that an hour before 6 here in Utah, which means 5 o'clock hour, Israel agreed to cease fire in preparation for the hostage exchange. I mean, we can check again. Two hours ago, ceasefire holds ahead of hostage and prisoner swap. See, because Israel took Hamas hostages and were holding them in camps, Hamas took civilians as hostages. There's a big difference. The Guardian? Seriously? You cannot trust the news. Dear God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And I'm not seeing anything happening yet. Nothing more recent than 2 hours ago. So still nothing has happened. And then the major stuff is 2 days ago. Okay? This is part 1 of the bombshell of the church's cover-up and lies to you. And so, as section 85 mentions the book of the law. Shall I read it for you? Verse 5. Their names shall not be found. It's talking about the bad people of Mormonism. I'd have to read verses 1 to 4. Neither the names of their fathers, nor the names of their children, written in the book of the law of God, saith the Lord of hosts. Where is the book of the law of God for the Kirtland Temple that was built in 1836? If section 119, well, that was 1838. How did Joseph Smith pay for the building of the Temple of Kirtland? And as the church is lying about Nauvoo, do you not think he would have still used the same method of paying for the Temple of Nauvoo as he did for Kirtland? Because there is no book of the law of God for Kirtland. This was before. Just like section 119 is before. But they're saying section 119 was the method of paying for the Nauvoo temple. And yet, nope, only for the Danites and the polygamous wives. And I'm running tests to try to find out, were these women slut whores using Joseph as their excuse that the Danites told them that it was? Which, I mean, that's horrifying as a husband of these women. Or were they deceived because of their spiritual witness feelings, didn't have intelligence as the wife? You need to understand the culture back in the early 1800s. Women did not have freedom. They were property of their husbands, sex slaves to the husbands. And it took the suffrage movement to stop all that. And so were they just gullible and naive and trusting these priesthood holders who were missionaries, who were secretly Danites, tricking the women into having sex with them? And then part of the hypnotism video in the 80s on commercials that I would watch, there were books being advertised in commercials about how you can sleep with any woman, even if they're married, even if they're religious. You just need to know certain tricks, which were hypnotizing tricks. How to manipulate the language to fool people and get them to do what you want them to do. And in this particular case, sleep with you. Have sex. These Danites were doing that. But whether these women were using it as an excuse to cheat on their husband as slut whores, or whether they were naive and gullible and believed, oh, I guess it is from Jesus, I guess I gotta do it. Kids, you would play in the yard. Mommy's gotta sleep with a Danite. Uncle Danite came over. It is so sad as a husband. And I know of this from the first wife. Or were they willing participants in evil? Purposely being slut whores, knowing full well what they were doing. That makes it even worse for the husband. See, that's a test I've not been able to obtain an answer for yet. So that took me off track, didn't it? And so November 27th, 1832, this letter confirmed as factual from Joseph Smith to W. Phelps. And because it's a letter, it was not published by Joseph Smith. And you can go through and you can check the Book of Commandments for it. You can check the 1835 edition of the Doctrine and Covenants for it. You can check the 1844 edition of the Doctrine and Covenants for it. The Wikipedia page on the Doctrine and Covenants tells you what was added in 1844. Section 103, 105, 112, 119, 124, 127, 128, 135. And so check all of them. There's 119. We'll do this because this is important. So section 103. Revelation given through the prophet Joseph Smith at Kirtland, Ohio, February 24th, 1834. Was not put in the 1835 Doctrine and Covenants. Why not? This revelation was received after the arrival in Kirtland, Ohio of Parley P. Pratt and Lyman White. Lyman White is a Danite who had come from Missouri to counsel with the prophet as to the relief and restoration of the saints to their lands in Jackson County. And so their Joshua and the other spies who searched out Israel to give a report to Moses as to the condition of the land, whether or not they can conquer it. And so, yes, this would have revelation about the latter-day Zion. Okay? So then we have section 105. Revelation given through the prophet Joseph Smith the prophet on Fishing River, Missouri, June 22nd, 1834 again. Mob violence against the saints in Missouri had increased, and organized bodies from several counties had declared their intent to destroy the Mormons. This is 4 years before the Mormon War because of the Danites. Prophet came from Kirtland at the head of the party known as Zion's Camp, bringing clothing and provisions. While the party was encamped on Fishing River, the prophet received the revelation. And is this where Lucifer has power over the water? I don't see it in Bruce R. McConkey's summation of the sections, but there's celestial law. What's the celestial law? Oh, you think it's polygamy, do you? In 1834, in June, what was the name of the church now? Brand new change. You have to look it up in the Joseph Smith papers. What's the new name of the church? Section 112. revelation given through Joseph Smith the prophet to Thomas B. Marsh. Who's Thomas B. Marsh? He was the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Still, on July 23rd, 1837. How did he leave? Oh, it was Joseph Smith who excommunicated him for defending his wife's honor. Was it? Are you sure? When did he get excommunicated? Did you check the Joseph Smith papers? 17th of March, my birthday, 1839. So was it by Joseph Smith? Where was Joseph in 1839, March 17th? Liberty Jail. Because of the Danites and the Mormon War. With election fraud. And the coup of Joseph Smith's church. Thomas B. Marsh was chased out of the church by the Danites. And then Brigham Young was voted in, actual vote, not a sustaining vote, as the rank leader. It's in the Joseph Smith papers. Became the president of the church and began taking over as the leader. The Danites didn't come to him and threaten him to murder him and get out of the church, or we're going to murder you and your family. Nope. Others, not Brigham. Gotta pay attention. You gotta actually read the Joseph Smith papers. Put all these pieces together. Because the church is going to lie to you. They're going to deceive you. They're covering something up that they don't want you to know. And then section 119. And then we can go to section 124. Revelation given to the prophet. Nauvoo, Illinois. What date? January 1841. Compelled to leave Missouri because of the extermination order. When? October 27th, 1838. The Mormon War. The Danites cooing the church had left them no alternative. In 1841, when this revelation was given, the city of Nauvoo, it's canonized even. And yet, Elizabeth lies. Section 127 and 128, and then 35. Section 35 is John Taylor giving his lie about Joseph Smith after he had murdered Hiram and Willard Richards murdered Joseph. And that's where critics get deceived into thinking that Joseph Smith was greater than Jesus and all that crap. You're not listening. Joseph Smith was our Christ. 127? Yeah, 127, 128. An epistle from Joseph Smith the prophet to the Latter-day Saints at Nauvoo, Illinois, containing directions on baptism for the dead, dated Nauvoo, September 1st, 1842. They had already been practicing baptisms for the dead in 1838. We can check that with William Morgan. He was among the first batch of those baptized for the dead. Who's William Morgan, Travis? Not following my channel, are you? You're not seeing the big picture. William Morgan knew about this plot. And it's hidden there. It doesn't have a separate segment for this, so I've got to search for it. Or did they take it out? Oh, you bastards. Oh, here we go. Members of Freemasonry criticized the Mormons for their adaptation of Masonic rituals and regalia. In 1830, Morgan's widow, Lucinda Pendleton Morgan, married George W. Harris of Batavia, a silversmith who was 20 years older. That was unnecessary. It's an anachronism to impose morality back into those days. Again, she's widowed. She's got children. And so she has no rights. She's all by herself. Remember, suffrage movement hasn't happened yet. She needs a man to take care of her. And so that's why George W. Harris, and why he's 20 years older. God. And there's other stuff too, because I suspect Harris knew of, well, of course he did, it was in the news. But yeah, he's a good man for taking her in and taking care of her. Don't think he's some creepy pervert. After they moved to the Midwest, they became Mormons. By 1837, okay, so before 1837, they became Mormons. Some historians believe, oh crap, feelings, nothing more than feelings, trying to forget that I lack intelligence. Feelings, only feelings, no more intelligence, the spirit of truth. After Joseph Smith was murdered, she was sealed to him. Oh, they confess! Oh! Do you hear this? Historians believe she had become one of the plural wives of Joseph, but wasn't sealed to him. It was sealed after Joseph's death. Do you see this? Grr. All you critics need to bow to me. You are not doing your research. They're not talking about baptism for the dead. They didn't. Oh my God, they took that part. Oh, wait a minute, here it is. In 1841, Mormons announced their vicarious baptism of William Morgan after his death as one of the first under their new right to posthumously offer people entrance into the wrong name of the church. 1841. An epistle from Joseph Smith the prophet to the Latter-day Saints at Nauvoo, Illinois, containing directions on baptism for the dead. Dated at Nauvoo, September 1st, 1842. You gotta check. They lie. Section 128. An epistle from Joseph Smith the prophet to the Church of Bruce, you bastard. God. And of course, we're not going to see the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints anywhere in here, are we? And there's John the Revelator. The revelation of Jesus Christ in the book of Revelation, with dragons, frogs, flying horses from outer space, immaculately conceived women, must all be literally true. And then Peter, upon this rock I will build my church. And they did not want me to link it to the Joseph Smith translation where it's seer. They did not want you to know that Joseph Smith was a seer. It came from the Egyptians. This is a long one. Long-worded one. We're only at verse 15. But I'm still not saying the Church of Jesus Christ. Oh, there's Elijah. Bruce, you bleep and bleep bleep. I will know no better then that I know now that I'm a fraud and lying to you. My whole series on the Messiah is a lie. I have betrayed Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon, just like Avram Gileadi did. That's what happens. That's why you become an apostle, because you betray Joseph and the Book of Mormon. You understand this? You are lying to everybody when you say that the name was the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You are lying about the Book of Mormon being another testament of Jesus Christ. You are lying that the Book of Mormon is only about the restoration of the gospel. And the church rewards you for your lies and your cover-ups of the truth. Right, Elizabeth? Man, this is just turning into a greater bombshell. Oh. Yep, there it is. Verse 21. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it shouldn't be. And so I'm willing to bet that I'm able to go to the Joseph Smith papers for section 128. Let's get the date. September 6th, 1842. September 1842 to Joseph Smith Papers. deed to Sarah Ann Whitney. Letter. Does it not exist? What? There's a letter in the Times and Seasons on the 7th. It's 6th, right? Yeah, September 6th, 1842. We've got another forged document. And they were trying to cover it up by putting in some stuff that is legitimate. Oh my God. And then baptisms for the dead again. I now resume the subject of baptisms for the dead. This is all fraud. Oh my God. Doctrine and Covenants, section 128. See if that... Oh my God. It's 7th of September. Letter to the church. It is not the 6th. Oh my God. What's going on here, Bruce? I can understand a day. Yeah, it's September 7th, not the 6th. I see the letter. It is written. And so we can confirm. You need to find verse 21. Okay, it goes to 25 verses. Okay, so okay, so let's go find. Come on. Okay, it has a signature of Joseph Smith. I see some crossing outs. Okay, it does look like I see Jesus Christ inserted in. Not inserted, but in the actual text, no interference. So now we check the source note. Joseph Smith letter, Nauvoo, Hancock, Illinois, to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's why... Bruce Harmaconke put that in there as is. So William Clayton is the handwriting. And so then we do a check on William Clayton. William Clayton, LDS, as a scribe. Born in England. Is that where he was converted from? He joined the Church of Jesus Christ, wrong name of the church, in 1837. And served as second counselor to the British mission president. Yep. These were Danites. He was deceived. I have the documents from the Joseph Smith papers that in section 107, that was the newly formed Quorum of the 12 missionary 12 apostles. It goes over in great detail. and the 70 for those missionaries, those 12 apostles. This is all missionary stuff in section 107. There's also the administration, High Council 12, that Joseph Smith had set up, section 102. And they too had 70 to assist them. That's why, back in my dad's day, he was a 70 for the stake. It was Brigham Young's carrying on that tradition, but demoting it and eventually getting rid of it altogether. You need to know the difference. But the church just assumes 70. Oh, okay, it's in the stake, just like it is in for the church leadership of the quorums of 70. And so after it was disbanded, my dad was instead made a high priest rather than an elder. Because that's what happened, is that the stake president then decided who gets to be an elder still, only an elder, or gets promoted to become a high priest. It was the stake presidents who decided that during that change. And my dad became a high priest as a result of that. And so, yeah, he was told, because Brigham Young, they were given licenses in 107. All their licenses are listed. Every one of the 70 and the 12 who got licenses are listed there. And I got Brigham's, Heber C. Kimball's. It says the Church of the Latter-day Saints. Very clear. But Brigham Young has his certification to go to England. And oops. Wrong name. And then you check the signatures. Oops. Not the same signature match to Joseph Smith. Oops. Danite. Got it. Boom. It's a forged document. I can now tie him to the Danites, not just deceived by the Danites. Because he was converted in England as they were lying to the people of England. It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Book of Mormon's another testament of Jesus Christ. So when Brigham Young overthrows the church, comes to the valley, and then the United States takes it over, he then does the perpetual immigration fund, human trafficking, to bring the English saints to Zion. They only know the name of the church by the name that the missionaries gave them. They don't know the name of any other church for Joseph Smith. They were lied to. They were deceived. And likewise, other Mormons converted here in America. And so he served as second counselor to the British mission president, Joseph Fielding, while proselyting in Manchester. And even though the mission president should have known the correct name of the church, because his daughter was Hiram's wife, Mary Fielding, to give Joseph Fielding Smith as their firstborn son. While proselyting in Manchester, he led a group of British converts emigrating to the United States in 1840 and eventually settled in Nauvoo, Illinois, where he befriended Joseph Smith and became his clerk and scribe. He was a member of the Council of 50. This all ties into the book of the law and the overthrow of the United States. These are essential books for all your libraries. As you see, I keep referencing them. And Smith's private prayer circle. Oh my God. Do you mean the Quorum of Anointed? Or is this something new and they don't reference it? Oh God, hear the words of our mouth. Paleo. See, Council of 50 was when Joseph Smith was running for president of the United States of America. These Danites, who were trying to get Joseph Smith constantly arrested and kept failing, then decided on another plot. Plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, Q, R, S, T, U, V. What's missing? P. The first X that I referred to earlier, she's from the not P Thompsons. That's where I heard that from. To distinguish from the Thompsons, which I did see a Thompson with the P in the Danite listing. And I'm sure if I were to keep searching, I might find the other one, but I don't know her genealogy. I'm just newly married. It didn't last long anyway, 5 years. But yeah, don't get me started. Moving on. And so, because Joseph Smith is running for president of the United States of America, these Danites now hatched a new plot. Let's help him get elected as president of the United States of America. And they had this secret counter-government now. Before, it was a counter-religion. Hey, it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus. Counter-religion. Joseph Smith's now running for president of the United States of America. And they say, hey, since we have a counter-religion already, and we're still, even though we were exposed July 19th, 1840, by Joseph Smith, let's do a secret government. They were setting Joseph Smith up to become president of the United States of America, and this ties to the book of the law. Wait for it. We're at 2 hours. Dear God, this could be 3. Dear God, this is going to be 3. There better not be breaking news while I'm uploading the video. That's what was so frustrating. And so my whole day is now shot. I had things planned and things changed. And so, are you familiar with Lincoln and his assassination from the Civil War? The Confederates. The Confederates are from the same organization that the Danites are from. The Illuminati, who infiltrated the Scottish Rites in America. And Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball, their families were a part of the Scottish Rites. So when you see Heber C. Kimball under Masonry, he's lying to you. He's not York Rites. He's Scottish. and so too were their family members. Brigham Young, no, because of the differences pre-9/11/1826 with William Morgan. Ta-da! It all ties together here. And so it was intended to have Joseph Smith win and then have him and Sidney Rigdon as his vice presidential candidate assassinated like Abraham Lincoln was instead. But the book of the law of God reveals when they gave up on working with the British, the Illuminati, to murder Joseph Smith and take over America, and instead do the Civil War with the Confederates and the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. This Council of 50 was to then take over the government after the assassination of Joseph and Sidney Rigdon, to declare martial law on America and establish a king. Who? Brigham Young. That would be his kingdom, the United States of America of Brigham Young, the leader of the Danites. But something changed. Something happened. And it's recorded in the book of the law of God that Brigham Young changed. And it was most likely because of the continuing pressure because of the Mormon War of 1838 and the coup of Joseph's church and the extermination order as such. And instead, Brigham Young then changed, we are going to murder Joseph Smith. And I did the videos going over the final year of the Joseph Smith Papers, 1844, how Brigham Young despised Joseph. They were not best friends, as Mormons want you to believe they were. Brigham Young is quoted in the minutes over those months leading up to his assassination, complaining about Joseph Smith, saying, you should do this, Joseph. You should do this, Joseph. You should do this, Joseph. He's setting Joseph Smith up to be wrong, to be a fallen prophet, to justify being assassinated. And then take the Mormons, his Danites, his polygamous sex slaves, and trafficked everybody to this valley, which we celebrate every single year, with a police force, even, not just the leader of the Danites of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or a representative thereof.